3 extraordinary benefits for doing hot yoga. If you've been doing hot yoga, if you've been watching my YouTube channel, you may say to yourself, why do I need to understand all the benefits?
So you need to know.
Because when you have an understanding, you have a mental clarity of what's happening, the mind and body are going to connect. The nervous system and the immune system are eavesdropping on each other continuously. When you have an increased awareness of what's happening in your practice, in your mind, the body and the mind begin to connect. That's going to take you to another level. I'm going to give you 3 benefits for the physical, 3 benefits for the mental, 3 benefits for the spiritual. Now make sure you watch all 3 aspects of the 3. There's going to be 3 physical, 3 mental, 3 spiritual. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. First, physical benefit is the heat. We're doing hot yoga. We turn the heat on. As we practice yoga in the heat, in the Bikram world, they like it to be 105 degrees with 60% humidity. I like it more like 98, 99. And the reason why is because we do more cardio in the beginning. We do sun salutations. Salute to the moon, salute to the god and goddesses. We're generating more internal heat through that vinyasa flow. In the Bikram world, they start out right away with half moon. The class needs to be hotter to get that deeper stretch. Bikram's favorite metaphor is you take a piece of steel to a blacksmith and you say, make a sword or a knife out of this piece of steel. The first thing he does is throw it in the fire. You start banging on that cold piece of steel, you're going to break your hammer. So we put the body into the fire. We create this elasticity. I work with many of the professional athletes in South Florida, especially the Miami Heat. The basketball players were definitely the stiffest, and the linemen, some of the linemen for the Miami Dolphins too. The bodies were so tight, especially from all the weight training that they did. By bringing them into the heat, it creates a deeper range of motion and they actually can move. Taking that piece of steel in the fire, and now you've got a fighting chance. Now you're able to start to stretch. Before we continue on, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. You want to learn all about hot yoga, factoids, flows, hit the like button and the subscribe button. Any questions you have, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you. Second benefit for the physical, we're creating a range of motion. I always say this in my class, when practicing many of the yoga postures, especially the side twist like spine twist. In the Barkan world, we do revolving triangle, we do floor belly twist. We're able to access hard to get to places. Proper alignment, we can get into the inner core where the real tension lies. When you're creating this range of motion, you're creating movement in the body. I'm not just talking about running or walking. We're creating a stretch, getting rid of all the tension in those hard to get to places, all the way down into the fascia. We're creating a revolutionary experience and making an investment to your future health. Movement is everything. Another favorite metaphor for Vishnu Ghosh and Bikram is cleaning out the engine of the car. If the car's engine is dirty, it clogs up. We clean out the engine of the body by getting deep into the inner core spot to stretch, to twist, to create range of motion, investment for your future health. And benefit number 3 for the physical is not just flexibility. A lot of people think that you have to be flexible to do yoga and it's all about flexibility. It's flexibility and strength. And we add balance in the hot yoga world and muscle tone. So it's really the combination of the two. I've had many people come in and they have extraordinary flexibility, but they can't balance for more than 2 seconds. People come in that are so strong they can hold the posture forever, but they can't really stretch that far. We want to combine the two together. The true measure of your practice is the flexibility strength combination that's taking place. Then you have to have a mental understanding of how to implement that, which is almost going to tie into the second part, the second benefit, the mental benefit. But for somebody that's really strong and really tight, they have to think loose and relaxed. They have a different mental concept. Somebody that's really flexible, that can't really balance that long, they have to think strong and tight and hold it. It's a different mental understanding, knowing your body type, so that the strength and the flexibility begin to balance. So you have to then focus on what it is that you need more of. I always say the posture you hate the most is the one you need the most. Just to go off track for a second, I was just recently reminded about Pete Rose, who was a very famous baseball player. I know he had a big scandal, but you can't deny his accomplishments. He has the most hits of any baseball player of all time. But what's interesting about this, and the reason why I bring it up, is because he was also a great fielder. So when he was younger, he was known more for his fielding, not his hitting. And he was told, if you're going to make it into the big leagues, you got to focus on your hitting. So now he spent all his time on hitting. That was his focus. He trained, he practiced, he put his attention to allow his weakness to catch up to his strength. And now, with the interesting point, he was known more for his hitting than his fielding. His weakness actually became his strength. So we know, take it back to the yogic equation. If you're stronger than you are flexible, you have to think loose and relax. Let the flexibility catch up. If you're more flexible than you are strong, tight, solid, let the strength catch up. They need to be in balance. Benefit number 2 is the mental. You're going to feel better after the practice is over than you probably ever felt in your entire lifetime. There's a famous writer, I forget what his name is. I'll do a little research and I'll put it here on the screen. He said, "I hate writing, but love having written." A lot of times people don't really like the process of the hot yoga. Bikram calls it his torture chamber. It's tough. It's challenging. But after the class is over, you say to yourself, oh, now I understand why I'm doing this practice, because I feel so extraordinary afterwards. And it's not just like a runner's high that you can get an endorphin rush going out and running around the block. It goes beyond that. It becomes a holistic high because we're penetrating into the deep areas of the body, the inner core spots. And as we release those areas, we enhance the nervous system. And that's why you feel so amazing after the class. And a lot of people don't come into hot yoga because they want to get flexible or they want to get in shape. A lot of times they're coming in to get rid of stress, to get rid of mental tension, or they may be grieving a loss because the practice goes so deep, it creates this holistic healing that takes place. The yogic masters say that we can actually lock in traumatic experiences in the body. A specific experience we can lock into our hips, lock into our shoulders. So as we go into this practice, as we penetrate deep into the inner core spot, sometimes we can release post-trauma. We can release post-traumatic experiences, and we can heal ourselves mentally and emotionally through the practice. And benefit number 3 for the mental is take this feeling with you. I always tell that many times in the final Shavasana, we're laying there, we're in this extraordinary feeling of creating the present moment, which is going to bring us into the third part, the spiritual, and we feel amazing. And I say, now use this feeling as a reference for the rest of your day. When you're thrown off your center, when life throws you that curveball and you're feeling down, something happens in your day that may produce stress and tension, recall this moment in Shavasana. Recall this moment that you have earned through your practice and through your hard work, and use that as a reference to heal. And now you're going to be in a lot better mindset to deal with whatever is happening in your life. Coming from that place of stillness, that centeredness, that present moment, that wonderful feeling of Shavasana, we can take with us. And the third benefit, the spiritual, and you may say, how does hot yoga help us spiritually? The origin of hot yoga, it's important to understand that. My teacher was Bikram. Bikram brought this style of yoga from India to the United States in the mid to late 70s. His teacher was Vishnu Ghosh. Now, Bikram was into the physical. His teacher, Vishnu Ghosh, also very much into the physical. He was actually called a physical culturist. He taught weight training, he taught wrestling, he taught gymnastics and track as well as Hatha Yoga. But he was a lot more connected spiritually through his guru and his older brother, Paramahansa Yogananda, who's really the forefather of this type of yoga. If you haven't heard of Paramahansa Yogananda, he's considered to be one of the most prominent yogic gurus that ever came to the West, that came to the United States in 1920 from Boston, eventually migrated to California. Interesting enough, even back then, this is a side note, even back then in California, he realized in the 20s and the 30s, people were more open-minded in the West than they were in the East. And that's why he went to Los Angeles, got out of Boston, got out of New York. They were a lot more open-minded in California even back then. I thought that was an interesting point. So as we open up our bodies physically, as we get rid of the stress mentally, one of the sayings I have in my yoga class on Shavasana, I say we balance the body to quiet the mind, to nourish the soul. It's a spiritual cleansing that takes place, not just detoxing and getting all the sweat out and stretching your body, but getting rid of the tensions and the blockages physically and mentally to allow the spiritual energy to begin to flow through. And for a side note, I'm not talking about the yogic idea of spirituality, the yogic idea of God. Yogananda actually has a wonderful saying. He says, talk to God in the language of your own heart. And you may not even call it God. Maybe you say the universe. Maybe you say a higher power. As we get rid of the blockages and the tensions physically and mentally, we allow the spiritual energy to flow through. The second benefit, in part, and sort of an awareness of the spiritual, is understanding the origin of Hatha Yoga. In the Bikram world, in the Barkan method world, we are Hatha Yoga teachers. Definitely a misunderstanding of the word. In fact, I did a video recently. Check it out after you watch this one. The word Hatha doesn't mean sun and moon and the balance of the two. It symbolizes it. The word Hatha, or Hatha is how it's pronounced, means forceful. The originator of Hatha Yoga, which was about 900,000 years ago, was a wonderful sage named Goraksha. It did not come from Patanjali, definitely inspired by Patanjali, but he was 1,000 years before that. He was 2,000 years ago. Goraksha created Hatha Yoga. And why did he choose the word Hatha to describe his prescription for the yogic experience? Because Hatha means, drumroll, forceful. So why did he choose the word forceful or Hatha? Because he wants to forcefully awaken the energies inside the body. Remember again, the body gets stuck, it gets clogged, and then the energy is stuck. As we open up the body, specifically the spine, we call in yoga the Sushuna Nadi, which travels up and down the spine, up and down the central nervous system, to forcefully awaken the pranic energy and eventually a more stronger, subtle energy called the Kundalini Shakti energy. As we do this through our intention, as we do this through our posture, as we do this through the breathing, pranayama, and awaken that energy, this is how the yogi evolves in Hatha Yoga. Different than Patanjali's understanding of yoga, which again was 1,000 years before. In Patanjali's prescription was to quiet the mind. And that brings us to the last and one of the most important concepts of Hatha Yoga, and that's understanding the concept of the Nadis. These are physical and ethereal channels or conduits that run around us and through us. Some of the yogis say there are 72,000 nadis. Others say there are 300,000. Whatever number, there's a lot of them. And what we want to do, what we aspire to do in our Hatha Yoga practice is to open up these channels, to open up these nadis, just like cleaning out the engine of the car. Through asana, through pranayama, and through our mental understanding and intention. That's why, again, it's so important for you to watch this video and having this understanding in your practice. As you begin to open up these channels, these nadis, the prana, the Kundalini Shakti can now free flow. And as it free flows, it opens us up to a physical, mental, spiritual, holistic healing that again goes far beyond just going out and running and getting an endorphin rush or doing an aerobics hot hit class. Because as we penetrate deep into the body, deep into that inner core, deep into those hard to get to places, we release that energy, we open up the channels and the nadis, and the yogi begins to evolve. So you can see when you have this concept, especially in your Shavasana when you're laying there, just think of the blood and the oxygen, the prana and the Shakti flowing through you. I say this almost every single day in my final Shavasana, just to feel that energy flowing through you, to fill you up, to heal you. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you, and I will see you at the next video. Bye, everyone.